All right, so today's topic is how can you, as a stakeholder, as a business owner, as a product manager, generally as a person who is to this or that capacity near the product and the product decisions, can up the output of your design team, right? And how that ultimately can cut your market time to half. And we are talking not only about startups, right? This is going to be universally something that you, as a stakeholder, would be able to apply anywhere, right? And that also counts. That also counts startups. That also counts mature products. That also counts in enterprises. Basically, we are talking about a design revolution of a big scale, and this is kind of a summary of what has been going on in the industry for the past years, and also what is going to happen soon, right? And how we can leverage that. The most important thing is how can we leverage that. So let's get this going and let's take a look at me, for instance, right? So who am I? Who am I? This guy speaking to. My name is Oleh. I've been in the industry for over 7 years, 3 of which I have been performing a head of design role, and most of my experience was in prop tech, transportation, and med tech. I'm sorry, sectors, but some also aren't included here. Uh, Another point is the company, right? So we are ORIL. We are an organization that accelerates the digital transformation of your products. We are basically trying to build strategic future-proof software for you, and therefore trying to partner with you. We have over 70 products delivered. We have over 60 experts in our team, and we've been on the market for over 10 years. Our headquarters is in the USA, particularly in Miami, Florida, and our development team is located in Ukraine, Lviv. We offer a variety of services, such as most of these are revolving around development, but some are also such as design. Me being here is a testament to that in a way. So we offer product strategy and design. We offer digital transformation. We work with Salesforce. We obviously do product development. We have dedicated teams for you, and we also uh, recently have picked up AI, and we are trying to stay on track on top of AI and also offer you AI capabilities to be either integrated into your product or so that your product is facilitated by AI capabilities to yet again boost the time that is required or cut the time that is required for the product to be ready. So that's the formalities out of the way. Let's talk about the agenda for today. So we have basically 4 points in the agenda. And the first two of the four are kind of more introductory and abstract. We will talk about different caveats of modern AI tools. We will talk about how it is vitally important to keep your critical thinking while working with AI. What illusion does the current AI landscape kind of brings to us, and what is actually the reality of it, and how can we extract value from it? Then in point three and four, we are going to talk about the practical side of things. We're going to talk about the ways that AI can actually accelerate the design output, right? Accelerate the speed of your design teams, or generally accelerate design endeavors of any kind. What tools are on the market that are suited for that? What do they do? In which shape they are? And also some numbers from the market so that we can actually kind of back up our arguments with data. And then in the last point, we'll talk about the path forward. And here, what I mean by that is basically trying to understand where the AI finds its place in the future in the design industry, how it's going to shape the industry, and what kind of core, I would say, cornerstones should we kind of keep as a testament to what are we trying to do with AI, right? So how do we approach it, and how should we look on AI in the future? So let's get to the point one, the promise and the problem. And I'm going to start off with kind of a pulse check on the industry, right? So we have two infographics. On the left, we have a general kind of description of what ChatGPT is capable of in terms of UX design processes in particular. This is provided by Interaction Design Foundation. They have courses on AI and design, and they definitely know what they're talking about. Um, Basically, ChatGPT on itself can perform a variety of UX processes such as user research, competitor analysis. It can script user journeys. It can basically decipher handwritten notes, decipher user insights. So there are a lot of applications of any kind of LLM in terms of UX in particular, right? And on the right side, we can see an infographic for AI companies for content creators, which is basically saying that, hey, this is the graphical part, right? This is the part where we generate content. There can also be text content, but mostly it's audio, video, and graphics. And these are some of these are recent companies. Some of these companies have been on the market for quite some time and have adapted to have AI capabilities, but generally the sheer like landscape of AI tools kind of speaks to the value that AI brings. So to sum this all up, we can say that AI has firmly established itself as a brilliant tool for both UX and UI design in the recent years, and we have seen this coming for quite some time. Like 3 years ago, we could see AI generating some poor images or images of quality that is leaving more to be desired. And right now we can see that it basically can do photorealistic copies of photos and come up with new ideas. So generally speaking, AI is moving really fast. And right now we can definitely say that if you are not using AI to some capacity in some form in your design work, you're definitely uh, lacking something in terms of productivity, right? If you are not performing with AI, you're performing less than if you were to use AI in your work. And that's basically a fact for both UX and UI design. But with all of this in mind, let's actually take a step back here and focus on how AI is not brilliant or perfect yet. We need to know its shortcomings. We need to know to understand how to work around these shortcomings to well, get the most out of AI as a tool for us. So you might have seen this diagram on the web, and this diagram uh, basically illustrates how any user interacts with AI to, well, get a certain job done. Let's say that you need to come up with a plan for your product, right? A really basic kind of set of actions that you want to like put in motion to get the product going. Well, you might go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini and start talking with them. Hey, I have this idea. You give them context. You try to express what you want them to generate. You try to kind of work around different particularities that you have thought about already. And you try to basically make it think for you. So where you would end up is somewhere right here, if you can see my mouse on 75%. You would get to a good result, right? Obviously, that LLM is not you. They don't have all the context on hand. They might lack some knowledge. AI isn't perfect. Therefore, you would get to like a 75% goodish result, right? Then you try to give it more context. You try to give some certain cases. You try to share your experience with it. Oh, I had this previously and it didn't work. Let's try to think about something else and so on. And then you get to like 80%, 80, 85. It's looking better, but it's not perfect to any capacity. It might be what is suitable for you right now in this moment, and you can just say, "Hey, all right, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to refine this later." Or you can say, "Okay, this is a good enough base for me to then take and work on myself." And that would be the point where you switch to the green from the green graph to the gray graph before AI, right? To the work that you would do normally. But what AI did there is it gave you a boost. It gave you a really good head start on the task. But if you were to not do that, if you were to continue prompting and continue refining the uh, the result that the AI gave you until it's perfect, you are going to hit a brick wall because, yet again, AI is not perfect. AI is far from perfect. AI is being constantly updated. Like recently, a new version of Claude released, which is really good, like in comparison to ChatGPT and Gemini. But in the same time, it's not a human being slash professional that has all of the context that you have. It has all of the experience that you have. It can only work off of basically the information that it's trained on, and that information might be of poor quality. There are definitely some stray bits of information in the selection that it's been trained on. Yet again, you would not get to 100%. You would get to 90%. So therefore, we should understand that generally AI, as we speak right now, and tomorrow this might change. It very well may, with how quick things move right now. But right now, we are not in a position where we can say that AI can replace humans just because of these 20 to 10% at the top, right? And that's what gets the most value. But alas, so AI shortcomings are that it lacks depth, that you need to spend time to iterate through noise to get to the actual output that you desire, right? So rather than focusing on with the intent, you're kind of trying to lead the AI or kind of navigate the AI to the result that you want. And obviously, AI likes to put shiny new things in front of you, and the things that are trendy or the things that have been used a lot of times, but you have omitted. But those might not be what you're looking for. Therefore, it kind of tries to replace clarity on the task with some novel bits or some stray bits. Therefore, it yet again might get noisy. So a good example of this, and kind of to make a point that we are not talking only about text AI, is like any visual, sorry, any AI that generates visual content. Here would be AI generated interfaces that are beautiful but unusable, right? So there is novelty to beautiful interfaces. We have all seen dribble shots of really cool futuristic interfaces, but they lack the clarity, they lack the usable part. They might be really good visually, but obviously once you start using these interfaces, you would yet again see that those 20% that I've been talking about on the last slide are missing. Therefore, it's a good idea to do this. It's a good idea to generate interfaces with AI, but it's not a good idea to ship it as is. And basically, that goes for anything AI generated, be it text, video, music, even, and so on. So AI is there to shorten the path. Your responsibility is to guide the direction, right? And this might come as really obvious. Obviously, AI is not in charge here, but it very well may be. And let's take a look at why. So the importance of critical thinking. I really like this picture. There's a classroom with kids in it, and the teacher is pointing at the board with ChatGPT and saying, today we'll be using ChatGPT to learn how to. So I know we have in Ukraine, we have this sentiment towards students and yeah, basically to students in universities and schools using ChatGPT or any other LLM as kind of a shortcut, right? And we take a look at it, like we look at it with resentment, basically, because previously when we were going through this, we had much more challenge, right? We needed to write a paper 10 pages long for tomorrow on some obscure topic that we don't know anything about, and we need to put our mind to it, dedicate time, and basically effort. And right now you can input the prompt into ChatGPT and it's going to spit out the document instantly. But I think what we are kind of begrudging here is not the kind of the point that they don't need to put so much effort as the point that they don't need to think, right? They don't need to go through the problems of, okay, if I include this in my paper, will the teacher appreciate it? Does it make sense? Does it make sense to me? Well, what if, let's try to look at it the other way. Maybe I want to put this thing into the paper, right? So they lack critical thinking when using ChatGPT for learning, right? They don't ask the question why, they ask the question how or what. And that's exactly my point here. So you need to use AI as your creative or thought partner and definitely not as a decision maker. And yet again, you should ask AI why. Why are you proposing that we include this? Or why are you proposing that we cut out this phase? Not just like, okay, if we cut out this phase, what do we do next? Like you need to question the AI's answers. And you need to take into account that yet again, AI is not perfect. You can use AI to simulate bad users, edge cases, risks, or crisis scenarios. So if AI paints a really good, bright picture of the future when you start and launch your product, then you can ask it, okay, what can go wrong? Like, what is a crucial point in which all can go wrong? Like, how can I prevent it? What do you think? Go and research some cases online that basically had this exact experience, right? You can discipline yourself to ask better prompts, just like asking better questions in user research. In user research, we try to omit really closed questions like that you could answer with yes or no. We try to always dig deeper and say, okay, if you don't use taxi apps on a regular basis, why so? Right? We don't just ask, do you use them? Because the answer will be yes or no. We ask, and why? Because always, like, the insight is always there in the why. And that's exactly what you need to do with ChatGPT because it's also an entity in a way. that has certain perspectives, so to say, and you need to dig deeper. Therefore, you need to ask the why. So some example questions could be like, what would a user from my target audience hate about this interface, right? We always focus on how can I make this cool? How can I make this usable? How can I make this pretty? How can I make this yada, yada, yada. But we rarely ask, okay, what is bad about this? What can go wrong? What can go south? If I were onboarding for the first time, what would confuse me here? Like in this particular instance, what would an anxious or distracted user struggle with here? So yet again, kind of flipping the chessboard, trying to see it from a different perspective. There is a concept that I've learned of really recently, and I kind of love this concept. They are called demons for some reason that's unbeknown to me, but that's kind of the slang in the industry right now. And what are demons are basically versions of the same LLM that are kind of not trained differently necessarily, but definitely have different presets. And at the bottom here, you can see three screenshots from a mobile app called Stoic, where you could basically journal, right, and talk with AI. And there are various versions of this LLM to talk with, some of which like focus on different things. Like Funky Frida here on the left wants to add a magic touch to your journaling experience. Curious Curie in the middle can show you different possibilities, and productive Plato on the right can make you productive. So you basically choose what like kind of vibe you want to have with AI, like what kind of conversation you want to lead. And this is about perspective. This is about different focuses. If we were to kind of take that concept of demons and juxtapose it over UX UI design, here I have come up with an example. I have taken Claude, the latest version, which is really good, and I have taken a screenshot of an interface. I have the interface blurred out and the name of the project also blurred out here. So sorry for that, I cannot share you during this meeting, but what I've done is I've screenshotted the interface, I've sent it over, and I've asked like, hey, I'm having difficulty judging the usability of this interface. Can you evaluate this taking several roles? As a cynical user, as a confused or a hurried user, or as an anxious user. And what the AI came up with is on the right. The cynical user's perspective is vastly different from the confused user's perspective and highlights some of the things that I wouldn't even think of while looking at this interface. Because you be a founder, a product manager, a UX UI designer. You are also a person with your own background and your own story, and therefore you look at things in some particular way. The AI lets you kind of take a different look. And obviously you don't need to take these with like by heart. You need to take them with a grain of salt because AI can go some ways to make the content more interesting, let's say, and like kind of boost the really high and really dim the low parts. Therefore, you may get some extreme uh, sorry, some extreme judgments from the AI, but it's definitely worth it at least to get that new perspective, right? So these are demons. I kind of love this concept. Again, advise you to look more about it on the web because it applies to everything, right? You can use this generally as a prompting approach. So bottom line is, all in all, you need to run every AI output visual or otherwise through your product sense and values. Before you commit to something, you need to think about whether this actually makes sense or whether this is something that AI added for some reason that's only known to the AI. Okay, let's get to the meat of the discussion. We have design speed optimization through AI. Okay, how can we actually make the design faster? So yeah, AI is really rapid. Like a few years ago, I didn't think that I would be able to generate interfaces in Figma, but right now it's the reality. So first of all, I want to kind of have a baseline here, right? A baseline testament to how I think the this process should look like, right? You have better questions or better prompts, and yet again, these can be prompts to text-based AI, visual-based AI, and so on. And if you have better questions or better prompts, you arrive to more insights. The more you interact with AI, the more valuable insights you will collect. As we've seen on the diagram in the start, right? 70, 80, 90%. Then more insights turns into less pivots in design because if we know more, about the future product, if we know more about how it's going to interact with the user, about different caveats, different corner cases. Some say that this might be basically saying that we should do user research with AI. It's not, it's different. User research is still valuable, but you would definitely get less pivots in design if you take into the account all the different perspectives that the AI would get you, because you wouldn't spot them so soon without AI, right? You would need a big team for that to be uh, the reality, and AI is basically giving it to you for free right now. So there is no sense in not using it. So the more insights you collect through AI, the less pivots there are in design, and therefore the time to market is faster, right? And generally, time for executing some particular design task is faster because there is less pivots, because you have foreseen some of the future problems early, you have accounted for them, and therefore you don't need to waste time on fixes, be it in design or, God forbid, in the code, right? So AI it lets you solidify designs much faster, therefore shortening your TTM, but yet again, generally shortening the time that you need to spend on design work, or your team needs to spend time on design work. Let's talk about some particular tools. So obviously we have Figma here, and Figma is leading the way with its AI. It's not brilliant. It's not there yet. It definitely has some particular moments where it doesn't shine as bright as some other tools, but it's kind of trying to become this big enterprise of a software for everything that has to do with design. Therefore, it's kind of expected of it to include a variety of AI tools. Right now, we can generate screens, we can generate prototypes, we can generate different copy materials, we can generate images, and so on and so forth, and a lot more obscure AI aided, I would say, functionality that I'm not going to go into right now because it's more technical designish. So I just want you to know that Figma is going big with its AI approach, and it's really apparent, and it's going to be more apparent in the future for sure. Then we have such a tool as Attention Insights, and this is one of the tools that has a really specific use case. This is for you tracking, basically tracking and predicting where you would have more conversion, more interaction from the user side, and basically it's trying to convey more to you in terms of, okay, how is this going to actually be used early when you have mockups? A really cool, interesting idea that I personally really dig, because it lets you yet again try and fix problems early before you get to the let's say a rollout and then a proper analytics, right? And chances are it's going to be right. Next up, we have this tool, which is called Jasper. And Jasper is mostly for marketing, but also copy. It tries to be, yet again, an enterprise tool. It tries to include a lot of different aspects into it. Like you can generate different visuals, you can generate a ton of voice for your business, you can generate different content for videos, for posts, and so on and so forth. So kind of tries to kind of bring it all together in one tool that is AI aided. And then another example that I wanted to mention is this one, Chroma. So it's really weird at the start, but it's kind of interesting. You need to choose 50 colors to kind of train the AI to show the AI the direction. And those colors can be like for your particular product, or generally the colors that you like. Maybe you want to uh, freshen up your living room, right? But what it does, it kind of trains the AI on the subset, and then it spits out different colors, variations, gradients, and palettes for you to use, right? And which I found really cool because it kind of personalizes the color scheme automatically to a brand or to your liking. But let's talk numbers, right? This is all fun and games. We have a lot of tools, we have a lot of toys to play with, but what do actually they bring to the table? So this is a kind of accumulated statistic from the web on time saving rates for particular, let's say, design tasks. So UX/UI usability testing is down 50%, the time spent on it, I mean. And that is from product school, and I can easily see this being truthful because yet again, we see what's like Claude, what ChatGPT is capable at the time. And definitely, if you collect enough information, it's going to be sorting it and clustering it really fast and really efficiently. Therefore, you can definitely save a lot of time on that, like wireframing. 45% time reduction in Figma thanks to the new Figma AI that lets you generate screens. Prototyping similarly 50 times percent faster iterations by Exalt Studio. Yet again, I think mostly to Figma and UIs are its capabilities. And then A/B testing conversion, 40% improvement by Optimizely. So all in all, if we look at the competitive field in terms of like any AI-aided design tools, we can arrive at the conclusion that they are thriving. First of all, there are more of them than last year or last month even, and that they actually generate value, right? Because most of the time, some AI tools that we have on the market currently have AI for the sake of having AI. These are actually doing their work, right? And these are performing, and these numbers are a testament to that. But what is an even bigger testament to that, the path forward, is this metric or metrics, market adoption and forecast. So from Data Horizon, we have the information that AI design tools are to grow from 3.5 billion in 2023 to 12 billion in 2033. We have 70% increase in AI adoption in 2024 for the UX UI domain specifically, but yeah, from GitNux, we are up to 63% faster launching apps using AI-driven design systems from Exalt Studio. And kind of the metric that gave its name to our lecture today is 53% reduction time to market with AI integration from World Metrics. And these are all talking about design specifically, right? So pretty wild numbers, and but these are the new reality, right? If we are not using AI in our design process, we are definitely slower than the team that is using AI in design. Okay, then we kind of know the landscape. What are our next steps then? What AI tools should we start with, for instance, right? So this diagram will show in a second different tools in terms of how versatile they are and how difficult to adopt they are. So on the far left, we have versatile tools. On the far right, we have one-trick ponies. On the bottom, we have tools that are difficult to adopt, and on the top, we have tools that are really easy to adopt. And it kind of looks like this. We have, yet again, these want to be really big enterprise level uh, software packages like Figma, like Jasper, like UiZard on the bottom left because they are difficult to adopt. You need to, like for instance, to use Figma efficiently, you need to learn Figma, and that takes a lot of time, or you need to hire a person who knows how to use Figma. And obviously, it's really versatile for that, right? It's difficult for a reason. It's difficult because it can perform a lot of different things. And on the far right, we have things like Attention Insight Maze and Galileo AI that let you do some certain particular specific tasks, but with a lot of precision and with really not a lot of effort in terms of adoption. You can just go in, do what you need to do, then come back with a result that's 80 or 90% there, right? So kind of like my principles of working with AI in the future is that we need to AI early, we need to AI often, we need to use all kinds of AI tools for all kinds of UX UI tasks. And we want to start with simpler tools if we haven't started the process of adoption because like they would not require a lot of time to adopt, but it would bring a lot to the table in terms of saving time. But obviously, as we get used to the AI, we should definitely include those bigger packages, those bigger software packages with AI that we have on the market right now, because that ultimately is going to save us even more time. We need to know the right tool for the job because there are so many different tools on the market that do different things. We need to know what is good for our particular tasks on hand, right? If we want to, for instance, judge the conversion rate of a funnel that we have designed before we launch the product, we shouldn't go to ChatGPT or Claude. We can, but we shouldn't. We should go to Maze AI instead, or we should go to any other model that's trained to do that specific job. So ChatGPT is powerful, but it's not omnipotent. We should run whatever the output is through our vision. So AI is our helping hand. It's not our guiding hand. We need to remember that, and we need to use it, well, not sparingly, but definitely with mind. And then we should definitely watch the landscape because things move and they move quickly. So I've made that example with Claude. They have basically launched a completely new model that is really efficient and really good, but that may be eclipsed yesterday or sorry, that may be eclipsed tomorrow by some other new model that, for instance, ChatGPT rolls out, right? So we should take a look at the landscape and like potentially if UiZard invests enough into their AI capabilities, they could eclipse Figma and basically take their place on the market. So we need to take a look at the horizon and always adapt to the new changes in the AI landscape. But that is it. Maybe you guys have any questions before we cut this and call it a day.
Great presentation. I kind of got inspired by many of these things. One question, I'm not sure if it's a question, but it's more of a opening dialogue. There's quite a few tools regarding content, visuals, and things like that, which are kind of in the middle between design and marketing responsibilities or focus. What do you think, especially, image generation and things like that? Where do you think these things overlap, and how would you, does the role of designer kind of slowly shifts toward kind of some of the marketing responsibilities? So since it's going to be easier to generate text, generate images and things like that. How do you see that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, an interesting one. So, I've been to a few events on AI myself recently, and I have heard different opinions on the topic. Like, is design dying? Basically, are designers dying as a species because AI is so powerful right now? The short answer is no, they aren't, and they aren't moving to marketing roles. They're moving to overseeing roles, so to say. So, if previously we were to design everything out by hand and make every connection between user replies by hand and then kind of form our hypotheses, prove them, disprove them, and do something with it. Right now, most of the all of that is automated, right? Even like the thing that you mentioned, like writing content. In UI design, that's mostly UX writing, right? And we can kind of delegate that to the AI right now, but we can not let the AI guide it, right? Yet again, as I mentioned in the presentation, we need to basically keep the hand on the pulse in terms of what we are generating and how we are using it. Therefore, some particular responsibilities of designers will definitely die out, like for instance, creating images if we are not talking about some illustration stuff, something really complex. That might die out because AI is capable enough to kind of replace that, but I don't think the person overseeing that should be removed or moved to a different role, and a lot of my peers agree on that. So therefore, the future designer looks like a developer with a copilot, if that makes sense. But instead of a copilot, they have Figma AI, they have different AIs to generate images, different AIs like Writer to generate UX writing, and so on and so forth. In terms of overlap with digital tools that are more uh, aimed at marketing, it's difficult to me to answer that one because I'm not in the marketing domain myself. Therefore, I don't have experience in marketing as such. Therefore, it's really difficult for me to judge that one, but at least the design role, I think I can quite comfortably answer that for you. Okay, I don't hear any other hands. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for joining me here. Thank you for going through this presentation with me, and I hope you got something new out of it. You got something exciting out of it. At least maybe you laughed at some funny pictures. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Have a good one.